All right, guys, last segment, and we are out of here. So most of you are probably familiar with the new podcast by the Dems' darling governor, Gavin Newsom. I ran into this story from PureBlood Media. Go check them out. Link in the show notes below. news.pureblood.media. That will take you to the news aggregator. There's other stuff on there too. The TV guide's got all of us on there. But the news aggregator, fantastic. Every single news article that comes across the screen is triple source fact checked. That means there's at least 3 sources, other sources that corroborate, is that the right word? The story that you're reading, and fact checks it and says that this is legit, this is the real deal. You know you're getting something that's true and authentic versus what you can find elsewhere, right? So this isn't necessarily one that had to come from them, but I saw it scrolling across. It caught my attention. I said, I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive on this. Not too deep, won't keep you too long, but do want to look at it with you. And again, it is about the podcast, right? But go check out, and you'll see it pop up there in probably a little bit. But yeah, go check out Pure Blood Media. A great source for news articles, for finding great content creators that put out stuff like this, that do music and entertainment and whatever. Just a whole bunch of us out here doing the thing. Support indie creators. That's what we are. All right. So this comes from WorldNet Daily. It says, watch Tim Walz on MAGA folks. I could kick most of their blanks. Ass. All right. So we're going to scroll through this real quick. Tim Walz was recently on there. I don't know how this guy has time to do a podcast. I mean, I think I know because he's not doing anything else, but I mean, still from an optics perspective, it's pretty rough. But we'll get to that later. It says, talking to California Governor Gavin Newsom on his new podcast, Minnesota Governor and failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, typo guys, claimed about those he disagrees with politically. I think I could kick most of their ass. The remark was in context of how to counteract the success of Donald Trump and his MAGA movement. Now, here's the actual video, and I think this is all I'm going to play. Yeah, this is all we got going on here. So I'm going to play the video. It is 2 minutes long. I'm going to stop it and kind of give commentary a little bit as we go through it for a couple of reasons. Gavin Newsom seems like the kind of guy that would be slimy and sleazy enough to try to copyright claim it. Yeah, I'm going to try to avoid that. So let's go through, because there are a couple of points that are here, and I would actually love to take this entire interview, because I've heard more than just this 2 minutes. I'd love to take this entire interview and maybe do it like on the member side of Rumble for those that have paid memberships, subscriptions or whatnot over there, and break down the whole thing from start to finish. And that might be something I do. I don't know. Keep an eye on X. I might put something out there. But let's go ahead and play this and we'll talk about it.
Have they figured it out that the identity piece of this is more important than the actual substance behind it?
Well, they've been doing.
All right. So he's talking about the right with their identity politics. That's right. The right and their identity politics. Seriously? Okay. Anyways, he's talking about the right and their identity politics, but really, anytime the left says something, it's pretty much projection. So have they
figured it out that the identity piece of this is more important than the actual substance behind it?
Well, they've been.
So again, he's saying, have they figured out that the identity portion of it is more important than the actual belief system or whatever he says? The identity is more important than the actual substance. That's what they do. They pretend, they fake, they are not. There's nothing authentic and genuine about the left. True story. Okay. Go listen to any of them talk. Go listen to him talk. How many times did he get caught in lies and misinformation on the campaign trail? And he'll do it again. This is just what he does. You know, and Kamala, I mean, what a joke. What a joke of a candidate she was, right? Nothing authentic about this woman. She did everything she could to come across authentic. Didn't work. Nothing authentic about these guys. But that's the thing. They want to put on this facade and say, oh, let me just push this this appearance, right? What do you say that the identity, we're going to push the identities and these appearances and this to you, because that, if I can sell you on that, that's actually more important than the substance of what I'm pushing, of what I actually believe and who I actually am and what I actually, that's what he's actually saying right there. He's trying to, again, project to the right, and you can't. I'm sorry. The right doesn't do identity politics. You guys do. You guys do. All right, let's keep going.
More important than the actual substance behind
Well,
it.
they've been doing it for decades. I mean, we've saw the welfare queens. They've seen the Southern strategy. We've seen it over and over. It's an old playbook, and we're as dumb as we want to be that we allow them to do this with CRT and ESG and DEI and every three-letter word.
And then they demonize people.
Yeah, demonize, and they weaponize grievance. They other people.
Is that not projection right there? They demonize. They weaponize. What's happening to Tesla right now? What's going on with their car lots? Right? They're being destroyed. They're saying that the hand gesture made by Elon Musk now opens him up to everything. Oh, he's finding corruption in our government and bloated spending and all this and that. He must be a bad guy. What? These people are in a cult. I will argue tooth and nail about the cults. The mega cult does not. There are people that are very, very blind followers of Donald Trump or the MAGA movement. But that pales in comparison to the people that are just blind supporters of literally anything and everything the Democrat Party pushes. And if you get out of line with that, you're out of that cult. You're like a leper, get away from me, out with you. And that's why a lot of people have come over to the right. Because the right's like, hey, look, we really like this guy, but we're open to other things too. Want to have some dialogue? It's different over here.
People, they talk down to people, past people, they humiliate people, they weaponize difficult issues. But the bottom line is, and I think it goes back to what we began with, is, and I applaud you for this, is we cannot continue to be on the defense reacting to this. We've got to go on the offense. We got to meet people where they are. But I also think this, and this is where, this is part of the conversation.
We'll get back to you in a second. You guys are the ones saying, go out in the streets. There shouldn't be any unrest. Waving canes and on the floor of the Congress, and threatening other politicians and saying that, it's okay to confront people in restaurants and get in their faces and say they're not welcome here. I'm looking at you, Maxine, and so many others. Screw you guys. Screw you guys. I mean, you guys are always on the offensive. Okay. Yet the only thing that you're on the defensive of is everything that you're wrong about, because you don't have anything to counter it with. So you have to fight to not look like creeps and weirdos wanting to touch and look at and mangle children's bodies. And you guys are sick. Absolutely sick. Let's continue with Stuttering John over here.
The conversation I'm trying to have is you got to respect people you disagree with, even, and you can't just dismiss people.
How do you fight it?
This notion
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that.
Have you seen Tim Walz walk? Come here. Have you seen Tim Walz walk? Have you seen him clap? Have you listened to him talk? This man is about 6 months away from being cognitively probably where Joe Biden was. Okay. I can see him falling upstairs for sure. Kick whose ass, Tim? Tampon Tim. The guy that I can't remember if it's in this 2-minute clip or if it's in the longer one where it's like, oh, well, they came at me because I was a bad example of what masculinity is. I am masculine. I'm modern day masculine. Borderline like fruitcake. I don't say that against gays. A lot of the people that watch my channel are conservative gays, and you're awesome. I love you guys. But you know what I mean by fruitcake? Just like, it's just, Tim Walz, go Kamala, go. Yes, like a flamer or whatever. I don't know, flamboyant. But my point is, I can't see Tim Walz kicking anybody's ass. I can't see him kicking Kamala Harris's ass. They got an ass kicking contest. She would probably win.
I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Again, WWE. Nothing against the wrestlers there. It's real in the sense that they get hurt. No question about it. It's scripted and it's acting, right? It's sports entertainment. He probably would have been better off saying something like the UFC. He just wants to wrestle against some tights and wrestle is what it sounds like to me. Tim, you silly old man.
But it's a natural reaction. I think it's one of the reasons we're losing so many men. And again, it's multi-ethnic. It's not just white men. We're losing them. We're losing them to these guys online. We're losing them people that I'm bringing on this podcast as well. That's why I brought.
These are bad guys, though.
Because he disagrees with them. They are bad guys. Now, remember this, guys. Back when Biden was in office, you had, what's her name? Pulaski, whatever, the little redheaded, goofy chick, kind of like Chucky. They were all talking about like censoring people that were misinformation and Spotify and everything that was, like how do we censor these people? How do we silence these people? Let's remove these voices. Trump got in office. He's like, how can we give more people a voice? How can we bring more people to the table? Our wonderful press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, of course, she's done an amazing job about, speaking to that and saying that more people would be in the room asking questions, interacting. And that's a huge thing. So I'm excited to see the direction we're going in. We're trying to add more voices to the conversation and get more word out. The left tries to silence and control. Remember that, guys. Remember that.
These are bad guys.
But they exist, and we could deny they exist. They exist. Not only they exist, they persist, and they're actually influencing young kids every single day.
How do we push some of those guys back under a rock?
I think we have.
There you go. How do we push them back under a rock? How do we get these dissenting voices, the ones that we don't like, and how do we silence them? How do we control the narrative? And they're losing the narrative. That's why podcasts like this are popping up. Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom. Watch, I say this on all the posts. AOC is going to run for vice president or president coming up soon, whatnot. She's going to lose. And then she's going to start a podcast. And if that doesn't work, I wouldn't be surprised if she starts an OnlyFans. I'm just saying. I can see it. Because she craves the spotlight herself. That's what a lot of these Democrats do. They want to be celebrities. So what you see more than often than not is like the Gavin Newsom. He wants to be liked. He wants to be a celebrity. He wants to be treated like a rock star. He doesn't care if California burns. Why do your job when you can have a podcast and celebrity, and walk around and get things have things given to you and people, fall at your feet and stuff. I can't stand this guy. He's a snake.
Have to first understand what their motivations are. I think we have to understand what they're actually doing. And
you don't
I think
think
that's
it's racism and misogyny?
I think there's
what a pitiful, pathetic excuse of a man to say that. Okay. I'm not an Andrew Tate, fanboy or anything like that. And I think he goes too far. But him and so many other people have been coming out to be these, pushing for masculinity, old school masculinity conversations. And we need that because old school masculinity is going away. I look at the world, I look at people and that are near my age and I'm like, what happened to men? I mean, I've got low testosterone. I've openly admitted that I've got low testosterone naturally. I have to inject myself and get myself where I need to be, which I don't think is all the way where I need to be still, to be fair. I would love some more. But, I know how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know how to do some stuff. I've worked on the cars. I camp in the wilderness. I can survive out in the wilderness if I have to. I support the family. I can fix things around the house. And I don't know, just normal masculine stuff. I hold the door open and be a gentleman. I I worship the ground my wife walks on without being stepped on. You know, knowing that I have a place and she has a place. We have our roles and we respect each other's roles. I mean, to me, this modern day masculinity is basically just femininity light. You know, it's almost there. They are trying to erase masculinity. And this dude right here, what a sissy, horrible thing to put out there. Do you think it's racism and misogyny? Every time I hear somebody talking about misogyny, I don't even care about racism anymore. Call me racist. I don't care. The misogyny thing, I just almost want to like smack them in the mouth. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just an idiot. Figuratively, of course, I would never actually smack somebody in the mouth because I disagree with what they say.
I think there's a lot of that, but I don't think it's exclusively that. When you talk to a guy like Steve Bannon, he talks about working folks and he talks about how we hollowed out the industrial core of this country. But I understand that. But so we can dismiss the notion of election denialism. We could completely dismiss what he did on January 6th, but I don't think you can dismiss.
All right, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it there. All right, I wanted to go this one too real quick. I know I'm running this segment a little longer. This is on X. Laura Powell talks about when Charlie Kirk came on. So Gavin Newsom says his son wanted to meet Charlie Kirk, but he wouldn't let him miss school. Kirk replies, well, you canceled school for like 2 years. What's one day going to do? Which was funny. That was funny. That was a funny little jab there. Says Newsom just laughs. The laugh means my kid went to private schools and stayed open while I forced millions of public school children to suffer. That laugh means I haven't faced accountability and am betting I never will. Maybe this illustrates why a governor shouldn't become a talk show host. A governor isn't allowed to casually laugh off serious issues like this. That is very well said. Laura Powell. I like it. Follow. Anyways, this is 27 seconds long. Probably won't catch this. I mean, it just says what he says, but I'm going to wrap it up with a bow after this.
Last night, trying to put my son to bed. He's like, no, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie going to be here? What time? And I'm like, dude, you're in school tomorrow. He's 13. He's like, no. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, I'm coming. I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, he didn't. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is,
you canceled school for like 2 years. One day.
The point is the point, which is you are making a damn dent.
Thanks.
Last night, trying to put.
Okay. All right. So enough of him. Here's the thing. I made me a little list so I wouldn't forget. I feel like Gavin Newsom is accomplishing 3 things. I'm a big advocate for 3s. I love the number 3. It's like my favorite number. Holy Trinity. Dale Earnhardt, right? Raise hell, praise Dale. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. 3's just a good number for me. All right. So anyway, so I'm a big advocate for 3s. 3 points that I'm going to call out of what Gavin Newsom is ultimately doing with this podcast, in my humble yet accurate opinion. 1, he knowingly or unknowingly, right, is exposing the silliness and ridiculousness of his fellow Democrat politicians, like Tim Walz, to an audience that's used to seeing this kind of stuff edited or covered up. They're not used to seeing the stupid coming out of his mouth. We are, and we see it all the time. It's exposed nonstop. But when they see it, it's filtered and manufactured to only be what they want to hear. But some of that stuff that came out of his mouth is just so ridiculous and stupid. People on that side are going to hear it and be like, really? This is who we are? This is what we stand for? And it's going to impact those people. Watch. All right. Number 2, he's platforming people on the right and normalizing their ideas to an audience that thought we were all nuts. But really, we're the most grounded and rational. And again, they're not used to hearing that because the mainstream media will cut out, all talk of normalcy. They will only highlight the sound bites that make us sound crazy. Donald Trump, there's going to be a bloodbath. Oh my God! But what context was that in? What do you mean by that? Oh, in the auto industry? Okay, well, that's not so bad. Okay, we're going to go march on the Capitol. Oh my God, he's calling for violence. Oh, but he said peacefully and patriotically. What? I haven't heard that before. What's up? Why am I not hearing these things? So I'm sure there's some editing that goes on here, and I'm sure they're going to filter out some stuff here, but hearing him praise Charlie Kirk and saying that, hey, you're somebody my kid follows, you're somebody that people enjoy listening to, and you're making a dent and you're being effective, that might make people want to say, okay, who's this Charlie Kirk guy? Now, I don't necessarily think Charlie Kirk is the greatest thing out there. I think he made a huge impact. I think he is a net positive for sure. There are probably things that we will disagree on. One thing we absolutely agree on is God gave us the greatest gift of salvation through his son, Jesus Christ. No argument there. But I will say this. He's platforming these people in a good way, I think. Because I don't see him pushing back, which is going to take me to my third point here. I don't see Gavin pushing back like he probably should, like a Bill Maher does, right? Or the Daily Show with Jon Stewart would. But he's not going to, because of number 3. He, being Gavin Newsom, he's becoming whatever the people want him to be, right? Whatever the voters want him to be, whatever the people want him to be, whatever the mass audiences want him to be, that's what he is. It's like he's water. He's fluid. He can take the shape of anything, or like someone who is spineless and stands for nothing. He can stand for everything and nothing at the same time. It's whatever you want. Do you want me to like that? Then I like it. You want me to hate it? Then I hate it. Why? Because he's trying to build up his popularity, because he is going to definitely be running for president, and he wants to appeal to voters. And he thinks this is normalizing him talking to people on the right and people on the left. And he's cool and he's laid back and he's chill. Hey, look, he's got his jeans on. He's a cool guy. He's playing a game. And I'll say this. He is ideologically inconsistent on everything. He's not ideologically consistent on anything. Nothing. Again, takes the shape of whatever the masses want. Most, I will say this, don't be fooled by this man. Do not be fooled by this man. Okay? If he's not the Antichrist, he's pretty close to what I imagine the Antichrist is going to be like. Good looking, smooth talking, knows how to use his words, and is absolutely full of it, and anti-truth, anti-reality, and has that persuasiveness to influence people to buy whatever he's selling. Right? He is corrupt with power. He's never held accountable for anything. He's as crooked as they come, but he can be charming. And that's all it takes for some people. Like Tim Walz was saying earlier, it's the identity. It's the appearance. It's the show. That's what gets so many people to vote for him. Not what they actually stand for, not the substance. That was that projection, right? Again, they put on the face. They say all this stuff. People vote for them because they like what they see, they like what they hear, and they do nothing. They don't believe any of it. They do and say what they have to get the votes, and then they leave them in the lurches. Don't be fooled. This is exactly how the enemy gets us. Just like this. Again, I can't stand the man. I don't care how cool he tries to be, how he platforms people on the right so he's more center. He's not. He is manipulating you. Don't allow him to. What do you think? I would love to see what you guys think down in the comments. Like, do you think this podcast is going to hurt or help him? Or do you think it's going to hurt or help the Democrat Party? Because again, I think it's normalizing people on the right. It's showing the ridiculousness and silliness of people on the left. And it's showing that he doesn't stand for anything. If you can wipe that cultness out of their heads, maybe they'll see it. But that's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the show notes below. Would love to see what you guys say.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.